Most people, when they think of Minecraft, picture an innocent little exploration and crafting world. Little do they know, Minecraft has a content scope so far beyond most of its competitors that they really can't even compare. But what even less people know is that there is a darker underbelly to this primarily children's game, which rivals even the most predatory AAA titles, and then some. The primary audience for Minecraft is a bit hard to pin down. Mojang, the developers, do not collect a wealth of data on their user base, let alone publish that data for the world to see. But owing to the subject matter and accessibility, we can reasonably assume that, if not a majority, children make up an extremely large demographic in the overall player base. That's not a bad thing. If I had to choose between Minecraft and pretty much any other game for a child to be playing, I would probably pick Minecraft rather quickly, but that was before knowing about the darker and more subtle identity that this game has. Most players will end up participating in the legitimate Minecraft framework. More specifically, they will buy the game, play the game individually or on an official server, or lastly, purchase a server through Mojang themselves, Mojang being the developers again. What I did not know is that there is an extremely large underground server economy which not only violates numerous paragraphs of the end user licensing agreement, but also violates FTC laws, violates copyright laws for different high-profile games, sells loot boxes with no accountability or odds disclosure, offers false discounts, runs illegal pay-to-win cash prize tournaments without proper age verification or protocol, and on occasion scams their users for thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. The scope of this black market server economy is massive. It would take hours and hours to discuss even a small fraction of the overall group, seeing as there are hundreds, if not thousands of examples. But condensing that down to just a few of the more high-profile ones, I will hopefully be able to communicate how demented this underground economy in one of the world's friendliest and most innocent games in terms of its outward-facing appearance has become. To start with, we need to understand Mojang's policy with regards to modding and private servers. In the official Minecraft commercial usage guidelines, they state very pointedly that they want the community to be creative. They want there to be private servers and modded servers and all manner of personalized play experiences hosted by third parties. This is a great policy, but within this document are some key factors. Under the servers and hosting section, there are lines such as you may charge for access to your server, including a server which hosts your mods, but only if you take a charge per person that is the same for everyone. You give everyone you charge access to all the mods that you choose to have on your server, except only in respect of genuine admin tools / admin mods, which should be reserved to administrators. You only give access to your servers to users who have a genuine paid-for version of Minecraft. It goes on to say that donations can be welcome, and also that you may sell entitlements that affect gameplay provided they do not adversely or negatively impact another player's experience, and provided they do not give a competitive gameplay advantage. A competitive gameplay advantage is something that, given identical skill levels, time investment, and circumstances, can cause one player or group to perform better than another. Lastly, all servers, entitlements, and advertising are suitable for children and minors, i.e., no gambling. There are a bunch more relevant sections in here, but those are the main components, and I don't want to spend the entire video reading a licensing agreement. Nobody wants that. But that being said, now we need to look at the actual server economy. There are plenty of server indexes which feature a list of cracked servers. A cracked server basically circumvents the login framework of Mojang themselves, something that is not necessarily against the terms of service alone, but if we scroll to the bottom, many lists, such as this page itself, will read as follows. The cracked server owners solve this problem by doing in-game authentication, so you will have to register in-game for a password. Offline mode servers is another name for cracked servers. It's a common misconception that these type of servers are illegal. In fact, the opposite is true. Mojang purposefully introduced this option into the server in case their servers had login problems. This is just wrong. I'm not here to say that all cracked servers are a violation. I don't want to advocate for the destruction of the few legitimate and law-abiding servers that do exist out there, but if we recall the actual Mojang licensing agreement, we can see that there is a stipulation, very pointedly, that when payment is being accepted, and that's the key phrase, players must only be given access when they utilize a genuine paid-for version of Minecraft. That might be the case for some of these realms, it's true. I don't intend to log into all of them and specifically check, so I'll move on to the next major point. As you move down the list, you will find a large number of PvP servers. These hold game modes like factions, for example, among many others, which is honestly a pretty cool framework with base building and large PvP battles, raiding, etc. But the problem is, these PvP faction servers are preying on their audience. The most immediate and one of the better examples that I have found is Ostia PvP. Ostia PvP has been operating for years. If we go to YouTube and search by date, entering keywords Ostia PvP trailer, we can see that trailers are routinely posted by different users, which outline upcoming PvP events. But these events almost always have significant cash prizes. Right off the bat, we have to ask whether or not they have any sort of legal framework for this. Reason being, minors must be at least 13 years of age to participate in skill-based cash prize events, and even when they are, they need parental permission to do so. Ostia PvP does not validate these prizes legally, and with rotating tournaments on a weekly and monthly schedule, more often than not, frequently occurring over the course of a year, there is a large amount of cash flow in and out of this group or server to and from its player base. That is, when they actually pay it out. Already, that's a bit of a minor problem for the leadership and the user base. It may seem perfectly fine now, it may have been happening for over 4 years, but just because you aren't getting caught in the moment doesn't mean you aren't in danger. But let's dig deeper. Ostia PvP also has an in-game store. In items, they already sell multiple different in-game boosts, which conflict directly with the Mojang terms of service, which prohibits having charges per person that are not equal, or the sale of in-game items which give a gameplay advantage. If we go to keys, we can see literal loot boxes. This crate and key format is one that many players will already be familiar with. It is a monetization method that is swept across the entire gaming industry as of late. Everybody knows what it is, but here, it is a regression on the predatory tactic because the odds are not even disclosed, as has been mandated by various sovereign governments. But let's keep going. If we navigate to the Ranks tab, we can see various rank icons which give access to perks and bonuses violating most of the licensing agreement. But more interestingly, every single item in this entire store has a nearly 50% discount. I'll come back to the discount later on, but keep that in mind for right now, just in the back of your mind. Before going further, I just want to add that the motivation for this entire video is twofold. One, I just did a great podcast with Joshtified over at Tube Cave. I'll link to their website down below. And in discussion with him, I learned that he had become addicted to the spending cycle in these illegal servers at an earlier point in his life. Reason being, as is the case with Ostia PvP, when there is a large cash prize offering and extensive in-game pay-to-win options are offered to get that prize, the motivation to spend some of the money to win the rest becomes extremely enticing. The framework is exactly that. The trailers advertise $1,200, $300, $1,500, and more in cash prizes for completing the week or month-long battle. And the way to win is to buy random loot boxes or spawners and powerful pay-to-win items so that your team can beat the enemy team. It's pay to win, but taken to a whole new level because there is a light at the end of the tunnel to recoup your money spent. And this carrot and stick methodology leads to a cycle in which teams spend more and more and more money trying to win, ultimately milking as much as is humanly possible out of the often children player base. The second reason I decided to cover it is that when I posted a public call for any additional information, a user came to me expressing that their life had quite literally been ruined. I do hope that they can come back from it. I believe that they can, and they requested to be kept anonymous, expressing that simply by saying their name, it would clue in the leadership of the server that they were on to their identity, since they were the highest spender by far, I think almost every cycle. Point being, this was a young man who had become addicted to the predatory underground Minecraft PvP, cash prize, loot box, and pay-to-win driven tournament economy of unregulated illegal tournaments, and because of that, he had lost nearly everything. But let's move on. Ostia PvP is just one of the examples. Loot boxes with no odds, pay-to-win cash prize tournaments with no legal framework, extensive licensing agreement violations, and so on and so forth. But there are many more issues to address here. Next is the Archon. Archon is a massive private server network with, as of the making of this video, according to their site, 1,675 concurrent players online. The thing about Archon is that there are numerous realms: Amber, Onyx, Ruby, Robbery, Prison, etc., and each of these realms has its own purchasable rank listing. Similar to Ostia, you will find that they almost always follow a similar framework. Their ranks differ in price up to $150, and every single one on every single server, for as long as myself or any of my sources that I talk to can remember, is 50% discounted. They sell loot boxes, again with no disclosed odds, items and perks, the type that Ostia PvP does, and all of these items, or at least most, blatantly violate huge sections of the third-party licensing and modding agreement that Mojang currently has on their site. But Let's switch gears now and talk about that discount. The FTC has a series of guidelines against deceptive pricing. Item 233.1 regarding former price comparisons reads as follows. One of the most commonly used forms of bargain advertising is to offer a reduction from the advertiser's own former price for an article. If the former price is the actual bona fide price at which the article was offered to the public on a regular basis for a reasonably substantial period of time, it provides a legitimate basis for the advertising of a price comparison. Where the former price is genuine, the bargain being advertised is a true one. If, on the other hand, the former price being advertised is not bona fide but fictitious, for example, when an artificial, inflated price was established for the purpose of enabling the subsequent offer of a large reduction, the bargain being advertised is a false one. The purchaser is not receiving the unusual value he expects, in which case the reduced price is, in reality, probably just the seller's regular price. Looking back at Archon and Ostia PvP, we can see that every single item, for as long as can be observed or remembered by myself and all sources that I spoke with, is a 50% or 40% discount across the entire platform. These prices are fictitious. They are established to create an immaterial perception of value, which in reality is just a funnel to trick more players, often children, into buying items that they perceive to be worthwhile based on this fraudulent tactic, in combination with pay-to-win cash prize, unregulated, unenforced, zero accountability tournaments, loot boxes with undisclosed odds, and now this. I hope the picture is starting to form. Next, we can see Engine.com, and this is another private realm accepting payments for items that violate licensing agreements, but this time they list the number of purchasing transactions, which is important. We can see over 4,000 latest purchases, which probably dates back to the server's inception point, it seems, but with an average price of over $10, that's probably around $40,000 funneled into this illegal server, and this is just one of them, a very, very small one. Let's switch gears, though, and look at OmegaCraft. OmegaCraft is a big one, 8,500 concurrent players, and if we scroll down, they sell a, once again, discounted, coveted rank of Omega for $105, just for that rank. The thing is, the image here is of the Omega skin in Fortnite, which is a property owned by Epic Games. Now, some people may say immediately, well, you use Fortnite skins in thumbnails, for example. They get used everywhere. Honestly, so what does it matter? But the difference here is as follows. If you click the portrait, the Omega rewards are simply a name color in chat with the Omega prefix, some exclusive cosmetics, and pets in lobbies. This matters because it is not only a violation of the licensing agreement, but it is also a copyrighted third-party image from Fortnite that you are clicking on that is advertising this, tied to a $100+ price tag, while the only description offered is exclusive cosmetics with a singular visual item of this Fortnite skin. They are not selling the skin itself, they are not selling the graphic itself, no, but they are selling cosmetics, while the only visual item to indicate any information on that purchase is a Fortnite skin that they do not own the rights to, is not present in the game, and is simply named Omega. However, it goes a lot further. In the store, all of the ranks are Marvel and DC characters. That's not to say that they are selling specifically a skin of a Marvel or DC hero or villain in the game, but they are using extensive imagery from properties that they do not own and absolutely do not have any affiliation with, attached directly to price tags with a description of exclusive cosmetics to sell rank packs, while once again, every single item is discounted. Maybe it's a real discount. This time I don't have as much information to dispute that, but I'd be willing to place a large bet that it isn't. This one in particular is interesting because with all that occurring, all of these things, the banking information for some legitimate individual is listed directly on the website. The list of servers goes on and on and on. Blaze Vortex, again, every single item and rank discounted by 50%, items, boosts, and loot boxes being sold with no oversight or odds disclosure, and individually these servers might only be making tens of thousands of dollars, though some have broken hundreds of thousands easily, but collectively they are worth millions, and even further, those millions are coming in large part from addicted children who have been roped into a cycle from top to bottom of pure, unmitigated, unregulated, and unacceptable greed. Finally, I want to draw attention to a Reddit thread that popped up about 3 years ago. The description outlines how a group of Minecraft activists went about shutting down one of the largest cracked Minecraft servers in Taiwan, worth at minimum at the time about $200,000. But how this group's ownership had also stolen the trademark in Taiwan from Mojang themselves. The saga detailed threats, abuse, fraud, and so much more, because some of these servers are highly profitable. They use every dirty trick in the book on an unsuspecting and unprotected player base in order to earn, in this case, over $100,000 per year to some unknown owner, and when caught, they fight back viciously. Mojang only really noticed and cracked down because of the trademark registration. This Taiwanese server was not affiliated with them in any conceivable way, and now, with Microsoft having purchased Minecraft outright, there is a bigger, stronger company behind the wheel with an eye on protecting their property. I reached out directly to Microsoft's legal office about this investigation for a statement, but did not receive a response as of this time. It's possible I will later on, but I was ready to go with the video and want to publish it because it's fairly obvious to me that any statement they give or make will be simple and probably formulaic. Not all servers are as large or as egregious as the one in Taiwan. In fact, that version would inject code directly into your client, which allowed for remote shutdown, among other invasions of privacy. They would harass and sue critics while earning over $200,000 in a 2-year span. And again, not all cracked servers are that malicious, but from unregulated and unaccountable cash prize tournaments with pay to win, directly pay to win mechanics, randomized and unverifiable loot boxes with no regulation, massive and frequent licensing violations, all of which target minors without any legitimate business framework to the tune of hundreds of thousands, probably millions of dollars collectively. The underbelly of Minecraft is dark and predatory. A lot of my audience are in their 20s and 30s, even 40s and beyond, so if you have kids and they play a lot of Minecraft, be aware of the shadow economy that is allowed to flourish there. But that's it. If you enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing on locals.com. It's $5 a month, but helps me tremendously with channel stability. That is the place that I interact with the community most now, and there will be various rewards in the future. Also, there is merchandise down below, another YouTuber to support, and some other things like Twitter, etc. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.